Alright, good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. Well, everything is still happening in Ukraine. World War III is in progress. I just think we haven't seen the peak of it yet. We haven't seen the economic collapse, which is to come. They're just trying to hold on. They're printing money out of thin air I don't know what. So all that stuff is still going on in the world. And we're marching towards a new world order and getting close to the time when the Antichrist appears on the scene. But I think he appears on the scene out of chaos. And at a time when the world is in economic collapse, is in chaos, is in famine, and is in, maybe even the middle of World War III, where there's almost total worldwide annihilation, imminent. And so I think this is interesting that, again, this story is coming up now. We have new news about red heifers in Israel. Now, we have been following this, all the way back to, this is a 2018 red heifer, born in 2018. And, which one of these, this was born in the U.S., I believe it was. And the question was, at 2 years or 3 years of age, which is when these can be ritually sacrificed, will the red heifers be ready, or will they find something other than red hairs on them? Will they not be perfect specimens? And so we're going to take a look at that. But yeah, everything is still going on in Ukraine. We're going to take a look a little bit about that as well. Let's go to this one. We'll start off with this one. This is Israel365news.com. And the title is Biblical Red Heifer Could Bring a million visitors to Samaria. So red heifers in the news, July 16th, 2023. Recent news. So we're always watching this. And the question is why? Well, because the red heifers are important because they require the ashes of the red heifer to purify all the implements in the third temple before actual sacrifices can commence. So you will not have sacrifices in a third temple before the red heifers exist, or the ashes of the red heifer, are found maybe after 2,000 years or something like that. So people have been growing red heifers in an attempt to reproduce this, basically. So, it's talking about the sacred vessels in the third temple. And of course, the Temple Institute has all these sacred vessels that they're going to use for the sacrifices. I had a couple of things. This is my keynote about the timeline at the Return of the Lord. It details an area under the not the Dome of the Rock, but the this one shows the Dome of the Rock. This is Wikipedia. The location I'm talking about is the Dome of the Spirits, also known as the Dome of the Tablets. And of course, we know that the tablets, the biblical tablets, were in the Ark of the Covenant, which was in the Holy of Holies, in the second temple, the first and second temple. This location, this Dome of the Spirits, is beside. Let me see if I have an image of it. Dome of Spirits. It is beside the Dome of the Rock, and it is a potential location. So here it is. You can see B is the Dome of the Rock, and then A is the Dome of the Spirits, the Dome of the Tablets. Some people believe that in that lower corner there, on the right-hand side, that is actually where the third temple stood. Some people believe that. And if that is true, then potentially you could have some peace deal where the third temple was built right beside the Dome of the Rock. No need to tear down what the Muslims built, which would cause World War III in and of itself. So this Dome of the Spirits, Dome of the Tablets is a very interesting thing. And so that being said, again, that is required. The third temple has to be built for the sacrifices to start. And also, of course, the red heifer has to be slaughtered, basically, and burned on the altar for the ashes. So the heifer must be 3 years old and perfect in redness. And again, it's for the purification of the implements which they will use in the third temple. Okay. So that being said, back to the story here. So red heifer could bring millions, hundreds of visitors flocked to Shiloh in Samaria's Benjamin region on Thursday to welcome biblically pure red heifer so far. The 22-month-old cow, which has been brought to Israel from the United States, found a new home as the ancient Shiloh heritage site where the biblical tabernacle once stood. In the coming month, 2 more heifers will be transported to the town, and a center will open up dedicated to researching the phenomenon. The heifers will be kept in a fenced-off area. It says Jewish sources state that only 9 were slaughtered in the period from Moses to the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE, or Common Era, also known as Christian Era. According to the 12th century sage Maimonides, the Messiah will offer the 10th red heifer. So this is according to the Jews. So again, when you see news of red heifers come into place, know that the return of the Lord is near, because this has to happen to, again, build the third temple, to start the sacrifices. And why is that important? Does the Bible say there will be sacrifices started? Well, no, not directly, but the Bible does say that the Antichrist will come into power, and he will cause sacrifices to cease. He will stop the sacrifices in the third temple at a point in time, and he will sit on the throne in the third temple as God himself. He will declare himself to be God. And that's at about the 3.5-year mark of the 7-year period. So 3.5 years prior to that, there is probably a peace agreement that comes out of World War III, economic collapse, and global famine, which the Antichrist will implement across the world, and the world will accept him, and out of that comes the mark of the beast. So that's why this story is important. So very interesting stuff. This is interesting because this is, very pertinent and related to end-time Bible prophecy. Globalists suggest financial shock and climate controls could launch their global reset. What does global reset mean? Well, biblically, there will be an economic collapse in World War III, and it will cause a great reset into a one world order, a one world government, a one world leader. This is all what the Bible describes in the last days. So they are correct. They're reading their Bibles. They're reading Revelation and Matthew and Daniel. They're reading all these things, apparently. I am being facetious, obviously. But they know that a one world empire is coming, and they think they're going to lead it. But the devil and evil spiritual forces are going to be leading that and controlling that. And that's going to kick off that last 7 years before the Lord returns. So at the end of June, government leaders and think tank powers brokers from around the world met at the summit for a new global financing pact, a new world order, a new monetary system. And this will be, although they don't have this planned yet necessarily, this will be the new mark of the beast system that will come into effect when the Antichrist will come into power. Again, at the height of World War III, when maybe Ukraine and Russia goes nuclear. I think it could escalate to that point, or maybe we get to the point of U.S. against China and Russia, and then that would definitely be nuclear. And then this Antichrist comes in and convinces the whole world that we need peace, maybe after a couple nuclear weapons have dropped. But this is the order of events that I think is going to occur. Now, kind of latest news in Russia, Ukraine, is that the Wagner Group, they are on the roll. You thought they went to Belarus and were disbanded, right? Well, Prigozhin, he quickly went missing and they said even Russian leadership government said he was back in Russia. And Wagner Group is now lining up against Poland. So this was an orchestrated, great, false flag, whatever it may be, this coup attempt on the Russian government. This was a great stage theater to move the Wagner forces to Belarus to get onto a different flank, the northern flank, if you will, against Ukraine, and to eventually go against Poland and NATO. That's what this article seems to be indicating, and that's what some people have speculated all this time. Rapid increase in Wagner forces to advance in the Baltic. Target the Suwalki corridor. The Polish army will be crushed, it says. In an admittedly chilling public statement, Andrei, head of the Duma Defense Committee, revealed that the objective of Wagner forces in Belarus is to crush the Polish forces and take control of the Suwalki corridor. So Poland is really the next country that is interested in going ahead and battling Russia. They're kind of pushing the most out of all the NATO countries outside of the United States, but the local country, the country that is right there on the ground, they're the kind of the biggest ones pushing ahead with moving new tanks and troops and such into the region to go against Russia, and for good reason, because Russia is an existential threat to them as a nation as well. But Wagner Group, again, apparently is heading there. Thick dark clouds have begun to gather on the border with Poland. The last 72 hours have seen large movement of Wagner forces, which are still going on now, it says. And there's a couple of videos of convoys. Let's see if this will play or not. I'll turn the noise off. You can see lots of big trucks, military equipment, military personnel standing along the side there. So that's interesting. Let's turn that off. Here is Wagner Group going to Belarus. Bunch of military vehicles again. Big convoy here. There we go. You can see that big convoy heading there. So again, there's propaganda on both sides. We don't know what the truth is, but it looks like Wagner indeed was. There was some strategy in moving them to Belarus under the guise of being forced out of Russia due to a military coup, which lasted about 24 hours and ended very peacefully. And the Prigozhin, the leader of the coup, supposedly is back in Russia with no issues. So that's interesting, isn't it? So I will say, expect World War III to start. Expect economic collapse to come. The Bible declares these things as to be coming in terms of Revelation chapter 6. Go read the first couple of verses of Revelation chapter 6. It speaks of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I believe we're going to be here for that. And that's the opportunity, again, for the Antichrist leader to come in to control the world and say, I can save you from all that. I can be your savior, i.e. Jesus Christ. I can save you like Jesus and get you out of economic collapse and famine. All you need to do is accept the mark of the beast and call me, worship me, declare me to be God. And he's going to attempt to do that by sitting on the throne in the third temple. But the people will fall for it because they're desperate, they have nothing else, and they don't have faith in God. They don't realize that this is exactly what the Antichrist is going to do. So the Bible tells you exactly what is coming. We don't know exactly when, but we can see these things being lined up. So, folks, I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. Continue to watch this red heifer situation. This is very, very interesting. When you hear of a perfect red heifer and to the point to where they have the ashes ready to go, boy, oh boy, we are on the precipice of the rebuilding of the third temple, and that means the Antichrist has to be just around the corner. I'm not sure which is going to come first. Kind of feels like maybe there's going to be red heifer ashes before the Antichrist is revealed. I guess we'll see. But I think on the timeline of Return of the Lord, we see significant war, economic collapse, and famine coming down the pipe, which will be magnified even more during the four horsemen of the apocalypse and that first 3.5 years. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.